Hi, Helen. Let's take a look at your last set of essays, Green Energy. Let's see what you wrote. It is common their days, I think you mean these days, and yeah, it is common these days all around the world that green energy is more popular. While some would believe that it has a positive effect and are cutting down the costs for energy, comma, here, others would consider that the security of energy power is a serious problem. This essay will explain why I strongly believe that in the future it will lower costs here and give us give us all a better environment with some examples and arguments from personal experience, not giving. And then I thought the first sentence was a little awkward. Look what you wrote. You wrote, it is common these days all around the world that green energy is more popular. It's not really telling us anything. You're telling us that it is common that something is popular. That doesn't really make sense, okay? Um, it's, because it's just not really saying anything. If something is popular, then typically, well, it's kind of common. Anyway, you could say all around the world, green energy is becoming more and more popular. That's all. All right. It's that simple. And you can use the structure more and more. I think it sounds good. Okay, so let's try that. All around the world, green energy is becoming more and more popular. Okay, and then I think it's perfect. Well, you have to fix the other mistakes that I pointed out, and then it looks good. Firstly, one important issue of green energy is the cost. To build and get the green power industry running is expensive, but through the years it will be self-paid. Don't write this A here. For instance, photovoltaic that is built and attached on any open area such as roofs and big fields will be self-paid within 5 years and then lower the cost. All right, grammar here is a problem. This is an adjective, first of all. I think you needed like photovoltaic, and usually call them like solar powered. So that would have been better. So solar powered, or you know what? Solar panels is even better. So why don't we call them that? For instance, solar panels that are built with a T and attached on any open area such as roofs and big fields, you don't need a comma, will be self-paid. And I know what you mean here, but that's not really a very commonly used expression. You could say just will let me think how you can say this. There's a word for it. I'm trying to think of what it is. Yeah, I think you wanted something here like return on investment or like payback period. So, yeah, it could have been something like maybe has a payback period of around 5 years, after which it is self-sustaining, or after which I mean, I know what you're trying to say here, but it did get a little complicated. So, for instance, solar panels that are built on any open area, such as roofs and big fields, you could say have an initial investment, have a large initial investment, but after 5 years, become far less expensive, or after 5 years, sustain themselves. Something like this is what I wanted here. Okay. Secondly, another matter would be to import less, which gives us less transported energy. And through that, comma, less carbon dioxide emission. One example is oil, which in trucks and boats are getting, all right, careful with your grammar here. One example would be oil, or is oil, which in trucks and boats, I don't understand what's happening here, are getting transported and producing a high amount of pollution through being on the roads. This creates a great impact on the environment. Something happened with that sentence. The grammar is really rocky, so I want you to be careful. Therefore, green energy, what? Therefore, green energy will help to cut down the costs and create a positive impact. Okay. Your ideas are good, but something happened in multiple places with the language. So, let's see. And I didn't really love your opening sentence because this whole paragraph is not just about the cost. And when I read it, I didn't know what you were saying. So are you saying that green energy is cost effective and saves the environment? Or are you saying that green energy is really expensive to invest in? So it wasn't clear. So what is getting affected here actually is three places. Number one, your coherence and cohesion, because the central idea wasn't really clear. Okay, I had to read the entire paragraph to understand what you were getting at. And then grammar was a problem because there were a couple of places where I just didn't understand what was happening. So, and of course, all of this really will affect task achievement. They all kind of like, intertwine. So I would have liked to see some other things. I didn't really understand this. Like, you didn't really make the connection for me. You said it would be to import less, and you said something about oil. So it was all confusing. Let me give you some suggestions on how you could have written this if this was supposed to be the paragraph kind of supporting green energy. Start off with a clear topic sentence. You could have said something like, green energy has been known to be both better for the environment and more cost effective. Okay. So this way I'm like, oh, okay, I know what this paragraph is about now. So then you can say, regarding the environment, because renewable energy sources are used, such as the sun, the wind, or even ocean water. These do not damage the environment in the way that petroleum-based products can. Okay, therefore, we have fewer carbon emissions in the air. Okay, so that's the first part. Then you could have said regarding the money, you could have said, additionally, as far as money is concerned, because we do not have to drill into the ground for oil reserves, but instead simply have to harness readily available and widely available resources such as the aforementioned sun, wind, and water. Um, Costs can potentially be lower. Therefore, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's why I wanted to see this done. All right, let's keep going into the energy security one. One threat to the energy power would be relying on one imported source. For instance, if a war starts and the oil will be cut from one of the world's most producing oil countries, this will lead to lack of security to know that the energy always will be produces. Furthermore, another security problem would be the weather. For instance, regarding the solar panels, if there is no sun, will not be any production of energy. In short, one source of energy and weather produced energy are a security problem. Okay, so here again, we've got a lot of the similar problems we had in the previous paragraph. So the first problem, I think, is that you weren't really clear about what energy security is. You did mention that in your email. It's okay when you're doing this to like look up what the word means. I would be okay with that. So energy security is how readily available and how accessible at an affordable cost the energy is. Okay. So if it's a threat to energy security, they are saying that, perhaps it would not be readily available and it would not be at a low cost. Okay. So how could you have written this paragraph? You could have said, however, there are justifiable concerns regarding both how available and how affordable these renewable energy options are. For instance, if an area relies on solar panels for its electricity, yet there is unexpected, um, cloudiness or lack of sun, perhaps energy needs could not be met. This is a very real problem for certain regions, or especially in light of the fact that climate change is changing this type of weather phenomena in many areas. Okay. And then you could say also, it should not be ignored that the equipment required to harness and to store this kind of renewable energy may be difficult to afford for many people, making it impossible, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the kind of thing, and then you could go into that just like you did in the previous thing. So that's kind of what I was looking for here. Okay, Helen? All right. So in conclusion, with the examples and arguments given, I believe that there are some great cost-based arguments and positive outcomes with green energy, and it will expand in the future. All right, that's fine. This was fine, but this really had a lot of grammatical problems too. So I would love to tell you that your last set of essays, is where you need to be. I still think it needs some work. Okay, that might not be what you're hoping to hear, but I do really think that these need some work still. I know you're really strapped for time. I know you're working. I know you've got a lot on your plate. But let's see if we can get you signed up for some more essay corrections. Okay, you'll see it. It'll be in the email with the corrections. Anyway, let's take a look at the map, and we can get into that later. The two maps illustrate the structure before and after it has grown and been built. All right, careful here. It's an island, so refer to it as such. The two maps illustrate an island before and after it was developed. Okay, that would have been fine. Overall, the major changes that new buildings and roads were built with a T. You want past tense. Footpath and vehicle tracks were made. Meanwhile, in the before picture, more than what? Twice as many streets. Okay. Meanwhile, in the before picture, I don't understand this sentence. I would love to help you, but I just don't understand what you're trying to say here. For me, what you could have done here for an overview is something like clearly after development, the island became, or rather, the island had suitable infrastructure for tourist activities. Okay? Something like that. Or was inhabitable for human use, or one of those would have been okay. All right. Let's see. I guess tourism, yeah, because it has like a hotel and so forth. So maybe that would have been a better way. Regarding the latter map, there are 3 new buildings, and the mall is constructed right in the center, just to the west of the mall. Full stop here. Just to the west of the mall stands the hotel, and the restaurant building is slightly to the north of the center. Around those buildings, there are vehicle tracks. Get rid of the A. Built with a T, stretching from the dock to the city center. From the center to the west of the island, 6 new accommodation houses were built. And through the buildings, a small footpath leads to the beach. To the east of the hotel and restaurant, there are 8 more houses constructed all around a footpath roundabout. Okay. To the far east, a new lake has been, to the far east, a new lake has been made. In the north and northwest, the only 3 remaining trees are still standing. Okay, you did have the dock. I was worried about that. You called it a dock. Maybe you wanted to call it a pier. Probably would have been better. All right, this is fine for the most part. I would have just changed the things that I talked about. On the whole, it was okay. You did mention the hotel. You did mention the restaurant. Let's see, the hotel, the restaurant, the mall. You mentioned all that. You mentioned the homes. You mentioned the lake. I think one thing that was missing for me was any sort of mention of this. You focused only on the after. However, for them to have included a before, there's a reason for it. They want you to talk about it. And so you really should. What you essentially did was you talked about what changed, but you didn't really give us a sense of what was there before. And that's what I wanted. Okay. So let's see. You could have simply talked, first of all, you could have talked about this. All right. You've got the scale here. So you could have said that prior to any sort of construction, there was an island which was about 200 meters long and 100 meters from north to south at its longest point. There were trees scattered along the northwest, northeast, and central northern point, as well as in the center of the island, or in the south central portion of the island. That's all you need to do, but you did need to do it. Okay, you needed to somehow address it that this was there, and that it's part of the image. Okay, so Helen, do you want to continue working with us? Do you want to continue writing and getting feedback? If you do, take a look at the email telling you how to do that. I'd like to see more work from you. I'd like to continue helping you. Let's see if maybe we can move through it a little more quickly, because I feel like it's been at least a couple of weeks since we had an essay from you. So, yeah, let's try to get you doing more essays and maybe moving along it more quickly, so you're not losing any of the progress you make. You know what I mean? All right, so let's see if we can do that. And either way, just let me know. And that brings us to the end of this correction, okay? Looking forward to hearing from you, and good luck.